Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're going to be carrying on a brand new series, and the series of today is that we're going to be creating the Helldivers spawn strategy system. So this is going to be a very exciting one. I have separate a couple of files in here that I'm going to be using to basically create this system for us, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So the first thing we're going to be doing here is that we're going to go back to the Unreal Engine, and I'm going to create a new game, and I'm going to go back to the third person, and I am going to name this project here the Helldiver. All right, and I'm going to press create, make sure to select blueprint, and once the engine is up and running, I will be resuming this video. Alright guys, so since the engine is up and running now, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create a new a new folder. Right click, and I'm gonna call this folder here the Helldiver. Right, Helldiver. I'm gonna open up and I'm gonna create here a new blueprint class, and this time we're gonna be using an actor component. The reason why we're using an actor component is that because be attaching this to the player controller. Because imagine if you want to implement that to a multiplayer game, that has to be working in a multiplayer game as well. So it's always good to implement stuff that you want to replicate on your controller, so it's easy to talk with the server. Now I'm gonna create it here. I'm gonna call now the BP, let's say the spawn system. There we go. Nice. Now the next thing we're going to be creating here is a new folder, and we're going to call blueprint. Blueprint. I'm going to drag and drop that here, and we're going to create here a new game mode for this game. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to blueprints, and I'm going to go to the player controller, and I'm going to create BP, the Helldiver controller. And this is just going to be the place where we're going to keep our logic in place. And I'm going to create a new game mode as well, and I'm going to call this GM, the Helldiver controller game mode. I'm just going to call GM like that. Now, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to drag and drop this here. So I'm going to override that game mode. I'm going to open up my game mode, and I'm just going to assign this new player controller to the right place. And you guys remember that we have this default player pawn class. So here we have this BP third person character. I'm going to go to the location of that, and as usual, I'm just going to duplicate that, and I'm going to drag and drop this back to the Helldiver. Right. Now, since it's here, I'm going to drag and drop this. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm just going to call this the BP Hell Hero. Right? You can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to... It's just so if we need to change this character or we need to do something with it, we don't affect the original work. I'm now going to drag and drop that back to our, game controller. Now, as usual, what I like to see if I'm playing with the right character, and I know this is silly, but that happened with me before multiple times, that I've been working for hours on this and I was working on the wrong object. It's just to make sure that I add a cube, and yeah, I have the right character here, which is great. Let me just set up my window to open up in a new editor. Yeah, cool. So we have our character set up and ready to roll. Next thing you want to do here is that we're going to go back here to the to the blueprint, and I'm going to open up the blueprint. I'm going to go back to the player controller that we created, and I am going to attach a new BP, the player spawn system, and this is going to be the whole component that we managed, when you press control, when you press the items, when you press the key combinations to do certain things. Right, I'm going to close everything. Now let's set up our structure. Now I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to create here a folder that's going to be called variables. And inside this folder variables, I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to the blueprint class, and this blueprint I option here, and I'm going to create here a structure, and I'm going to call this S st, sorry, and this is going to be, let's say, the spawn options, or option in this case, because it's a single one for now. So if you guys remember, if I look on here, we need a couple of things. We need first the icon, we need the name, and we need the combinations. And also, as you can see, it has red options and blue options and green and yellow. So we need to take that in consideration as well. Right. So to do that, we're going to first have the name. Actually, do we need the name? Yeah, we're going to have the name, because the row tables, they have a name, but I don't really like to use them very much. So we're going to have the icon, and this is going to be a texture, texture 2D, I guess. Yeah, and it's going to be our object reference. We're going to add two more. Now for those two, one is going to be the key combinations, or key combinations. And the next one we're gonna be is going to be the key, the type, right? If it's gonna be support, weapon, or whatever. Now the next thing we do is that we're gonna create here two new enums. First enum that we're gonna be creating here is going to be the keys, and the other one that we're gonna be creating here is going to be type, right? And the keys, we're gonna basically be up, down, right, and left. So it's gonna be up, down, right, and left. Now the next one, we're gonna have the type. So we have four types. We have, let's say, strike. We have defense, and then we're gonna have here, let's say, supports, and then we're gonna have here what's the other one? So we have strike, weapons, or yeah, weapon. There you go. Nice. Let's save all. Great. Now that we have all this stuff, which is great, we can go back to our spawn, to the structure, and let's search for the E key combination. And we're gonna go and search for the E type, right? Nice. Now the key combinations, they must be an array, okay? That's all we gotta do, because then you can add multiple up and down and all sorts. Right, with all this stuff added, we are ready now to add a couple of combinations. So before I do the combinations, we're probably going to do that in the next one. I'm just going to right click here to, what is it, miscellaneous data table here. And I'm going to search for the st spawn option. And I'm going to call this dt. And I'm going to call this spawn options with S. And now we got everything added. So before I do this, let's bring the artwork. So I'm gonna go back here to the Helldiver folder. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create a new folder called texture. Right now that I have the texture, I'm gonna open up the texture, go back to my to here. So the icons, this one, if you guys want to look for icons, I always recommend for testing to use this website here called Game Icons. They're really good. They have a lot of options to prototype. So I just picked up a few icons from here. So feel free to pick up anything that you like from this website. Now, this will be it's going to be available to download. So this is basically the frames that I created. You don't have to use this, but this is the closest thing that I build, to be to the real game. So I'm gonna drag and drop this stuff inside this texture, and I'm gonna save everything. Now I'm gonna create two folders. I'm gonna have the frames, and I'm gonna have a new folder here called the icons. So the frames, of course, I'm gonna move to the frames folder. And the icons, I'm gonna open up here, and I'm just gonna bring those dummy icons to that folder, just so I have some, so it's easy to, we already have it here. Right, so now that we have all this stuff, we can start to add a couple of items to our, table. So I'm gonna open up here. I'm gonna add one, and based on my icons folder, that's where I'm gonna be based everything up. So let me just double check here on the Helldivers. So on the Helldivers, I have attack, strike, and all that. So the first one we're going to be doing here is the ammo, because of just the order that we have that. Ammo. And we're going to type the ammo that, drag and drop here, and the strike, instead of strike, it's going to be a support. And we're going to add a couple of key combinations there. So it's going to be, let's say, right, up. Now we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to create another one called maybe, just shotgun. And that's going to be called shotgun. This is going to be, I'm just going to drag and drop here. Now that combination is going to be down, let's say left. And then it's going to be a weapon. By the way, you can make this as long as you want. Duplicate, and we're going to use the shield option. Shield, and we're going to put that here, and we're just going to drag and drop the shield right here. Great. Now I have down, left. I'm just going to go maybe down. Let's say, I don't know, 3 times down. And we're gonna have so that you have, instead of being a weapon, is defense. I don't know. And we're gonna duplicate this guy, and we're gonna have the tank. Let's say you spawn a tank. Keep in mind that we're not gonna spawn any tanks. We're probably gonna use cubes and objects to spawn simple things, because the idea of this tutorial is just to make sure you have a system that you can implement on your own. So we're not gonna be doing anything like spawning real tanks and stuff, because that can get very tricky. But anyway, and this is going to be up, down, and let's say left, and we're going to add another one. It's going to be down again, and yeah. One thing that we need to make sure is that it only triggers this once you stop holding control. But that's fine. We can handle that on the game. And this is going to be, let's say, so we go support, weapon, blah, 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 and strike. Let's say we have strike. Let's say we have a tank range or some kind of a something that hits us, that help us hit in the game. Right. Now, one thing I forgot to do is that we need to basically assign what would you like to spawn? Because I don't know, like you could spawn like any weapon. So on the spawn option, I'm gonna add a new option, a new variable here, and this is gonna be the object to spawn, right? Or to give, or to strike, it doesn't matter. So this is gonna be an object, or actually an actor. I think object is better. Yeah, just call as an object and make sure you have the class reference. And what I'm gonna do here is that pretty much we have all the setup that we're looking for this now. So what we're going to be doing here is that I'm going to pause this video for now, and then for the next lesson we're going to be creating a way that to interact. But just before I go, I'm just going to do one quick thing here, because I think we still have time. I'm going to go back to the player, to the controller. Let's just do the thing that loads all this stuff for us. Yeah, so then we are set to, everything's set up for the next video. So on this component here, I'm going to edit that component. And what you're going to do here is that you're going to create 2 variables. So the first one is going to be the load out options, right? And this is going to be a data table row handle. And it's going to be public. Make sure is replicated. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change this to array. And if you guys remember, I think on Helldivers you have I think it's 4 or 5 options of loadout you could have. So that's what I'm gonna be doing here. So I'm gonna add, I'm gonna press that button. I'm gonna select my data table and I'm gonna add the ammo. And just so I don't have to copy and paste stuff, I'm just gonna duplicate that 3 times. And what I'm gonna be doing here is that for the ammo, shield, shotgun, and the tank. Right. Now we need to load this stuff up. This is something that I've been doing in the channel for a long time. So this is like pretty much every video that we go, we always end up loading this stuff. But what we're doing here is that we're just basically doing a for each. We're gonna plug this here. I'm gonna select those 2 and press Q on my keyboard just to align everything up. And then what happened is that I'm gonna break down this option. And I'm gonna call a node here called get data table row, and that's gonna be here. I'm gonna plug this there, and here I'm gonna search for DT spawn option. Nice. Now that I have all the stuff selected, everything is working fine. I'm gonna promote this thing for a variable, promote to a variable, and I'm gonna call here the loaded spawn options. All right, nice. Now I'm gonna create that and make sure it's public. Now the next thing you have to do, make sure that it's an array, change the variable type. This is gonna load and probably gonna cause an error here. All you gotta do is that you delete this, you bring this new type, and now you do add unique, because we want to add unique items to this, because in case you added a duplicated one, you don't have the player, or you may want duplicated one, whatever your game desires. So this is done. Now the next thing that we need to do here is that I'm just gonna basically check if this is working, and then we in the next video can start to prototype our UI. So I'm just gonna get the length, I'm gonna print this stuff, put it right there, and I'm gonna compile and save, and now I'm gonna press play. Now as you can see I have 4, that means that's loading. And if I go back in here and let's say, you know, I delete this index and I press play, I have 3, which is working exactly as we would like this to work. I'm just gonna duplicate. Can I do a Control Z? Nope, doesn't allow me to do that. That's fine. I will just add a new option. So I have ammo, shield, shotgun, tank. Oh, I have tank duplicated. All right, delete. Great. And still working. Yep. So guys, that's everything I wanted to do for this video. I really appreciated you guys watching my videos, and if you have any, you know, suggestions, anything, leave it on what things you would like me to explore. I do pretend to go back to a couple of old videos and make them a little bit nicer. I got a new microphone, as you guys can see. Hopefully that's gonna, you know, improve the quality of the tutorials in general. And once again, thank you very much for watching, and I see you guys for the next one.